Hello and welcome back to the FPL Tom YouTube channel. It's been a while since we've done kind of a dual stream, if you like. We are joined, of course, by my very good friend Jake. How you doing? How you doing? How you feeling about FPL being back, mate? Feeling good?
Yeah, it's exciting times indeed. I'm looking forward to it. Think I'm going to go. I'm going to say it right now, right at the start. I'm going to go a little bit more uh, smart this year, I think is the word for it. I'm not going to be quite as desperate to be the edgy one. I'm going to actually try and follow the grain a little bit and not fall away from game week one. So yeah, I'm going to put a little bit of work in this time rather than just go, oh, he looks good. Let's put him in.
I think towards the back end of last season, you were definitely a more improved manager. I'd say.
Yeah, not so erratic with my decisions.
Yeah, yeah, and like I feel like towards the end, you were pretty much getting like green arrows every single week.
Yeah, so the potential's there. And I mean, as your reserve side, yeah, I'm gonna have to do my best there.
You
So
are
yeah,
indeed.
no,
You are indeed. Mate, we're a bigger channel than we were last year. There were only about like 4 people kicking about in these streams.
yeah, literally,
And like one of them was your mum. So that doesn't count. The other was probably my dad. So we were just talking to ourselves basically.
Oh no, I've just realised I was on the phone to my mum before, and she said, "Send me the link."
Oh, I'll let you send.
But
I'll let you send her the link. I'll do some general pitter patter with the chat.
yeah, just keep the chat happy. That's what I said.
I can see we've already got some channel members in here. FPL Caleb, Laura as well. Hope you guys are doing good. And of course, Golden Goal Fantasy Football. If you want to go and check out any of his content, head over to his channel. He's also doing some pretty amazing stuff over the course of pre-season. He says, I just wanted to know if you've got wood. Well, we will be revealing a little bit of wood later, I think, potentially. Maybe a bit of Willie as well. Maybe a bit of William Wood in
No,
today's
surely
stream.
not.
Maybe, mate. Maybe there might be a bit of William Wood in my team, but we're going to have to see on that one.
Well, I'm actually so confused. You've delayed really well, but I'm actually really confused as to how to even share a link.
Oh dear me. How old are you again? Like,
Oh,
when did I start doing a stream with like a 65-year-old grandma who didn't realise how to share a link?
oh, I've done it.
Cool. If you do enjoy any of the content that you see on the channel as well, please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. We are trying to hit 6,000 subscribers by the start of the new season. It's looking pretty possible as well with a couple of weeks left. So, if you're new around here, hit that subscribe button, like button, all that good stuff. And also, go and check out the second channel. The Sweden video. It's gone a bit nuts.
Popped off a little bit, hasn't it?
It's on 30k. It's on 30k views. And I don't really know what to say. I don't know why 30,000 people are watching me and Sean eat like sausage and bacon.
That sounds like you.
That you know me, mate. I just bloody love sausage and bacon. One of the questions, one of the comments we got on the video was, "You did know you ordered a vegan burger, right?" And I was like, how do I respond to that one?
Oh no! I bet you threw up as soon as you realised that.
Exactly. I didn't want to lose kind of like, my street cred, to be honest. I was like, no, we better keep it
No, pure 100% beef.
All right, let's take a look at whose team should we do first. You know what? We'll do your team, lad. We'll do your team. This obviously is Jake's first draft at the game. So Jake, talk me through the team. There's some interesting picks in here, lad. I think it's a lot better than what we had last year. So yeah, talk me through it.
Apologies if you can't see me, by the way. I'm just looking at the
No,
team.
we can see you. We can see you.
Oh, sound. Yeah, so I've gone off the back of the end of last season's form predominantly, and then I've added a few people in relating to the start that the teams have fixtures wise. Haven't looked as deep into it, I'm sure, as many people will have, especially yourself, Tom. But I've looked ahead for the first 3 games, the straightforward first few fixtures, just to hopefully get me off to a decent start. There's still some tinkering to be done, as I'm sure we're aware, but I think I'm not alone there. I'm sure even you'll tinker about over the next few weeks.
Yep.
But yeah, I think it starts off pretty self-explanatory with Pickford in goal. They, I believe, were the second best clean sheets in the league, bar Arsenal. Am I right?
Yeah.
They were definitely up there anyway. And Pickford, towards the end of the season, was getting clean sheet after clean sheet. I feel like they got most of their clean sheets right at the back end of the season. Um, so yeah, it's going to be an interesting one.
Mm-hmm.
Selling Onana to Villa is a bit of a weird decision for them. I get it for him. I think we have touched on it before, saying it's not the biggest of upgrades for club stature. I guess if you compare history and current situation for Villa, it is an improvement. But for Everton, it really does seem to question what their aim is really right now, because they're about to move into a new stadium, I think, towards the end of this season.
Yeah.
And they're selling some of their best players and not really investing except for the dodgy kids stuff, which out of context that sounds very sus. But yeah, I've got Pickford for now. The Everton, like what's going to happen with them, how they're going to start, is why I've reluctantly potentially wasted 0.5 million by going for Neto in goal for Bournemouth. Two goalkeepers that I believe will play the majority of the season, bar some uncalled for injury or whatnot. But I've got Neto there. Maybe I could just bank on one goalkeeper, but we'll just wait and see. But then again, like a 4.5 million goalkeeper on the bench isn't the end of the world, especially when there's chance of rotation when maybe Everton have the trickier games. Hopefully that will clash quite nicely.
Mm-hmm.
Ben White in my team towards the end of the season. Really happy with him. Got quite a few assists. Popped up with a goal or two as well towards the end of the season. I think he got one mid-season as well. Vardiol, I think that speaks for itself. I think a lot of people have gone for him. Trent is an interesting one because I think, of course, he's going to, you'd imagine, play that similar role that he was playing the majority of last season. Depends what Slot's plan is, but I can't imagine he'll be moving him straight back to right back. I think he'll still want him to do what he wants to do a little bit more and let Trent kind of dictate the play in the middle. So it's always good to have someone that's just a little bit in front of the defence as a defender, because you get those clean sheets, but you're not fully backing yourself on that, of course, hence the price tag on him. Mm-hmm. So yeah, and then I've got Leif Davis. He's someone that I mentioned, I think, even at the end of last season. I think he was definitely high up in the Championship assists, if not the top assist make player. You'll have to tell me if I'm right or wrong there, if you know, but he was definitely up there, and every game I saw Ipswich play, he was fucking quality. So yeah, he's just a little prospect of mine. I think it's good to have a few differentials, and he's one of them. I have seen a few FPL accounts, nowhere near as good as FPL Tom.
Oh yeah.
But I have seen a few of them that have had him on the bench purely because of the first game. That being said, Ipswich Liverpool will be a very difficult game to judge, because Liverpool, I'm not saying it as a Liverpool fan, but it could be any top side. They could do really well in the season. But as we've seen plenty of times before, a newly promoted side, a 12:30 kickoff on telly, they've got they'll have all the momentum on their side. So there could be an upset there. So maybe the team's a little bit top heavy for Liverpool, considering my caution for that game. But that being said, I feel like the three players, I'll move on to them. Salah, I think that's a no-brainer. And Gakpo, I think he's been quite impressive in the Euros. And having a Dutch manager, I feel like that's only going to help him. I think he was one of our better performers towards the end of the season when we hit that massive dip and struggled to get results over the line. I think he was one of the few that was actually making quite a big impact. Hopefully he can find the back of the net, and maybe that'll force him out on the left-hand side, where he's clearly so much more dangerous than as that focal number 9. And then, yeah, I think the rest of the team that I've got starting speaks for itself, except for Illing Jr. I did this last year with Leon Bailey, and it paid off. He scored quite early on. I think it was against Everton. Just a bit of a rogue one, someone that I'd seen purely on FIFA and maybe Football Manager. And they've made it to the Prem. Fuck it, I'm going to put them in. Why not? It may go against me, but it worked last year, so I've gone for that guy. And then, yeah, the final one, really to touch on, because I think the rest kind of speak for themselves based on the fixtures that they're all playing and how they were towards the end of last season and how they do perform for their clubs. I think they make sense. I think a special mention to Bruno. I'm surprised he's only 8.5 million. But yeah, the final one, Smith Rowe. I think I've just read in our group chat a little rumour that he's going to Fulham and gone, let's just chuck him in. Because if he does go to Fulham, that'll be a great differential.
Yeah.
If he doesn't, and he rots on the bench for Arsenal, he will be out immediately.
Yeah. Okay. Would you like my feedback on the team?
I mean, I don't think it matters if I do or don't. That's what we're here for, isn't it?
Well, there is that. Let's start off with the goods. All right, let's start off with the goods. I like Salah. I like Trent. I like Bruno. I'm a little bit indifferent on Bruno, but I think for the price you're paying, it's a really, really good deal. I love Isak. Like Gvardiol. I like the Forest defender. Don't mind Jordan Pickford. I just think maybe at 5 he's a little bit more pricey. Smith Rowe, if he moves as well, I think that's a great pick, to be honest. If he moves to like Fulham, their opening fixtures are really, really decent.
Yeah.
So I think that could be a great shout, to be honest. Gibbs White as well fits in that category. Some great opening fixtures for what's it called? For Forest.
For Forest, yeah. Well, that's why I've gone double Forest, purely the fixtures.
Yeah, I think that's like 2 really, really good picks, to be honest. So yeah, fair play for that. But let's move on to the things I don't like. Actually, one more I do like. Ivan Toney's apparently moving to Tottenham. That's the rumour.
Oh, really?
So
well,
the opening 2
keep
fixtures.
him afloat.
The opening 2 fixtures for Spurs are really, really good as well. So that could be a decent shout as well. The players that I don't like, let's move on to them.
You didn't mention Leif Davis in your positive.
Leif Davis is one of them. We'll start with him then. I think he could be a good pick, but Golden Goal has kind of highlighted it a little bit in the chat. He says he gives off a little bit of Doherty vibes, and I completely get that. Smashing in assists for fun in the Championship. But Ipswich defensively are probably going to be one of the worst teams in the league this season. And I think the quality that we've been blessed with at 4.5 million this year is going to outweigh what he'll get in terms of assists.
Okay, yeah, fair enough.
But again, when Ipswich have really good fixture runs, it would not surprise me to see a lot of people potentially go for him, and I'm completely on board with that. Ben White at 6.5, I don't think he does anything special compared to Saliba or Gabriel for an extra 0.5 million.
Okay.
So again, probably would replace and save an extra 0.5. Neto, I think either stick with Pickford for the whole season or just kind of...
Well, when you say 5 million, it might be worth having Neto and then another 4.5 million that's going to play.
That's it. You've got 2 4.5 ones, or for me, what I'm doing this year is just playing 1 4.5 throughout the whole season.
Wow.
I'm not bothering. I've done the research. Pickford last season when he came in at 4.5, he picked up 41 points against top 6 sides.
Wow.
Now that's usually where you'd obviously bench him or rotate him and play someone who's playing Sheffield United.
I completely get that, yeah.
But the when goalkeepers haul, it's usually because they're playing against the top team, they've made about 82 saves and somehow managed to keep a clean sheet. That's when goalkeepers haul. So my thought process for this year, I've tried rotating, I've tried swapping it around, but for me personally, yeah, I just think stick with one goalkeeper throughout the season for a team that know how to at least defend, and Everton are one of those teams that know how to defend. It's Sean Dyche. It's pretty self-explanatory, so just keep with him. Like, I think he picked up 15 points against Liverpool alone last season, did Jordan Pickford.
Wow.
And on paper, those are fixtures where you'd usually go, nah, sack that off.
Yeah, no, I've seen that plenty of times with my keeper getting better on the bench than my actual starting keeper.
Yeah, I just think it saves you a bit of a headache every weekend as well.
Yeah, because you just expect a 2-pointer at most, and then you might get lucky.
Exactly. So
I like that thought process. I do.
Yeah, it's just something I've kind of been playing around with because ever since I've played fantasy, I've always targeted good fixtures. But for goalkeepers, I don't know. Like I've always said to you, never waste a transfer on goalkeepers because there's very limited upside. And now I'm at the point where I'm just like not even thinking about goalkeepers. I'm like, 4.5, in you go. You're done for the season. That's it. That's as much thought as I'm probably going to give to goalkeepers this season.
Yeah, fair enough.
We'll see how that goes. Other picks I didn't like. Who else have we got? I don't know who the 5.5 million is. You said he's some career mode wonder kid. Golden Goal said it in the chat as well. He's some immense career mode wonder kid. So again, I don't know.
He was about 5 years ago anyway.
Oh, well, that's it then. I just think though, there's quite a good plethora of 5.5s. You've got Hudson-Odoi, you've got Alanga, you've got Rodgers, who's been doing quite well over pre-season for Aston Villa at 5 as well. So I think maybe it might be worth a little bit of considering with that position. Same goes for Smith Rowe. Like, you've got 2 there, so maybe a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. I think Smith Rowe has to leave for him to stay in my team.
Yeah.
And if he doesn't leave, then of course there's the transfer out for maybe a Rodgers, say.
Yeah.
I'm reluctant to have another Forest player, considering I've already got 2. And so I guess at least, I think that you make a good point though. If someone like Rodgers is playing well and he's starting the season decent, then that might be a shout. I think it's a difficult game though to really judge away to West Ham, because if you look at the end of last season, you back Villa to win the game, but who knows how West Ham are gonna turn up this season. They could be woeful. They could be quite solid again.
Yeah. Well, here's an interesting point. What you could actually do: drop White down to Saliba, save 0.5 there. Leaf Davis down to a 4 million playing defender. There's loads of them this season. Then you've got an extra mil to upgrade. Is it Illing? How do you say it? Illing. Or Smith Rowe, and then you can get a 6.5 million in. You could get Leon Bailey in for Illing. Keep that Aston Villa link.
Yeah, but what if Illing does bits? Because they are leaving, Tom.
Yeah, but they've got Philogene, they've got Bailey, they've got Rodgers.
Don't even know who Philogene is.
You slapped goals in for Hull last season.
Oh, is he the one that did the Rabona one?
Yes, off the top of my head. Yes.
Well, it's some food for thought, but I think the main point from that is the goalkeeper situation.
Yeah, goalkeeper situation. And then obviously I think there is a big absence, but a lot of people are talking about that at the moment. It's Erling Haaland.
Yeah, it is. It is. I think it doesn't help. I think it helps people that are in and ahhing over him that they have a tricky first game. If they were playing at home to Ipswich, Forest, Leicester, anyone like that was a green home game, I think I'd have him in, because it'd just be silly not to. But the fact that there's Isak, there's Tony, who may work out, may not, and there's Watkins, I feel like it's quite tricky to put him in straight away when there are players that are so much cheaper.
Okay. Another thought for you, potentially. Who are you going to captain in match day 2? Because obviously Haaland's got Ipswich that week.
Probably Leaf Davis.
Yeah. Salah's got Brentford at home.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, because I don't really have many City players, do I? So maybe...
No.
Maybe
You've only got Gavardiol.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I'd be more keen to bring Foden in than spend 15 million on Haaland, you know.
Okay. Well, I think that would probably make way for Bruno then, to be honest.
Possibly, but like that could be my first transfer of the season if I get my team up and running in a good way.
Yeah.
Because I mean, United start the season off quite nicely.
You say that, but I disagree.
Oh, okay.
On paper, it seems quite nice, right? But if we look at the opening 7 game weeks, I think it's a lot more difficult than people think. Fulham game week 1 at home, that should be a win. I'm not disputing that. That should be a United win. Then it's Brighton away. The last few fixtures against Brighton have not gone Manchester United's way at all. New manager. We don't know what this Brighton team's going to be like. Towards the back end of De Zerbi's tenure, they weren't great. They weren't really putting up a challenge to anyone. Again, could be one of those games where United win or they won't win.
That's a good way to look at every game.
Well, yeah, but you know what I mean. Like it's one of those where I couldn't be confident, like 100%. I want an asset in that game.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Then it's Liverpool at home, so that's that done. That's a Salah hat trick.
I don't know though. Who knows? They did all right last season against Liverpool.
They did, but I still think it's a difficult fixture. Then it's Southampton away, good fixture, no questions on that one. Then it's Palace away. Palace start the season how they finished last year. That's a real difficult game.
No Elise though.
No Elise, but they've still got some really good quality. They've added some really good quality as well to that side. They're still probably going to keep Eze, Mateta. Defensively as well, very, very strong. Then Spurs, then Aston Villa after that.
Yeah, it's not quite as good when you look past the 3 games, is it?
Whereas if I look at Manchester City's, okay, Chelsea away on the opening day, not the greatest, but you never know. It's Phil
Well, it
Foden.
was 4-4 last time, wasn't it? Something
Exactly.
silly.
And it's Phil Foden. He's magic. Then you've got a run of Ipswich at home. That to me screams 5-0 to Manchester City. Then West Ham away. Back end of last season, they were terrible. Under a new manager, we don't know. Brentford at home. Arsenal and Newcastle at that point. So maybe at that point, maybe you switch to one of maybe like Saka. Because then they switch to Leicester and Southampton.
Mm-hmm.
So I think maybe starting the season with Foden over Bruno might be the better play.
Yeah, no, I get that. And then, yeah, at least in that situation, Bruno is cheaper, so you can always revert to him if he's started the season off in flying colours.
Yeah. Cool.
I like it.
You like it?
Yeah, I think Foden will make the appearance. Thanks, FPL Tom. I'm actually going to take your advice this season.
Is there anyone that you, when you were building this draft, who you couldn't manage to get in, but you want to get in?
Yes. Who do I want to get in? I mean, I'm unsure about Spurs. I think Ped Porro is definitely someone that will, across the season, get decent hauls. So I think that's someone that I was considering. But then I don't mind my defence.
Mm-hmm.
How much is Porro? Is he the same as White or a bit cheaper?
A lot cheaper.
Is he? Well, then maybe that's the substitution I make there. Mm-hmm. I think I was just quite keen to have an Arsenal defender purely for the fact that they won the Golden Glove. So I feel like having some form of Arsenal defender is a solid shout. But Pep Porro is definitely someone that was on my radar, as I'm sure he's on plenty of people's.
Yeah.
Didn't realise I did a football tenable the other day, and it was the top 10 assists scorers of last season.
Yeah.
And Brennan Johnson was like 6th.
Oh, lads, I think we're spoiling too many players for my team.
Oh, yeah, but so anyway, he was someone I was also like, you've gone under the radar of being quite points worthy. Yeah. Anyway, well, without further ado, maybe we should move on to you without me saying too much more.
All right. Let's move on to my team. Obviously, guys, if you've got questions, get them in. Me and Jake will answer them throughout the course of today's stream. We're also going to be taking a look at our AI team rating after we've kind of gone through both of our teams, see what the AI is obviously recommending and our team rating so far. We're also going to look at some clean sheet data and predicted points data because I feel towards the back end of last year it was really, really useful. Interestingly, Brennan Johnson was one of those players that kept popping up on that. None of us kind of thought about him, but then he kept picking up assists. So maybe we should give it a little bit more thought this season. So let's move on over to my team and talk you through it. Obviously, if you've watched my recent wildcard video, you will have seen this team. Flecken in goal. We've got a back three currently of Gavardio, Willy Bolly. I told you there'd be a bit of Willy in here. And
I didn't realise you deceived me with your Willy.
And Munoz from Palace. We've got a midfield four of Gordon, Eze, Salah, and Brennan Johnson.
Gordon was someone else I was looking at. It was between him, and I ended up going for Bruno just because I could afford him. Yeah. But yeah, he might be someone worthy of Smith Rowe or Ealing Jr. if I do lose money in defence and other areas. Because he was class. And I mean, starting the season at home, there's only one outcome.
Exactly. Second for points scored at home last season. Do you know who first was?
Was it Haaland?
It was Foden.
Oh, wow.
And you know who they've got in match day 2 at home, lad?
Who? City?
Yeah.
Ipswich
at home. There you go. So there's the
learning.
There's the Foden move secured, lad. It's done. Easy. And then a front three of Chris Wood. So the big man's in there. Erling Haaland and Alexander Isak. On the bench, we've got the backup Brentford goalkeeper Robinson, Harry Winks, and Harwood Bellis.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Any kind of thoughts on that team so far?
What's the Harry Winks move? Because is he not quite defensive for a midfielder?
He's 4.5.
Oh. Yeah.
I think for the start of the year, before Champions League and obviously all the cup competitions start kicking in, there's no real need to have players on the bench, or at least like I've got one rotating defender in there, and Harwood Bellis if like I want to play him when they play maybe like Leicester or Ipswich. Other than that, he's probably not entering the team.
Yeah.
Winks, same again. Unless we're absolutely desperate or someone doesn't play, Winks is just going to come off the bench for 2 points. The rest of the money is in the squad.
Yeah, fair enough. Top heavy in the squad, and yeah, if I get the fact that if there's no other competition to worry about, then you might as well.
Yeah. Obviously, we kind of hinted towards Brennan Johnson there. Picked up 12 assists last year. Really good set of opening fixtures for Spurs. The first 2 at least. They've got Leicester in the opening game, and then they've got Everton at home in match day 2. After that, though, the thought process for me currently is to switch him for either Leon Bailey or Nkuku, because Chelsea have a really good run, but I want to just give it 1 to 2 games.
Yeah, we need to see how Chelsea start. That's another player that, of course, I'm sure is pretty impossible to keep in your team is Cole Palmer, just because of the massive increase in price.
Exactly. So, Nkuku gives you a nice way into that Chelsea attack. 6.5 million for him. If he puts up anything like he did in the Bundesliga, the similar numbers.
Well, yeah, he plays as a centre forward a lot of the time, doesn't he?
Well, the manager came out today and said like he can see him playing as a number 9 across the front 3 midfield. Like he said, he's like his favourite player at the moment, basically.
Well then.
So that for me is why I'm having a 6.5 million placeholder, and then after game week 2, I can either move to Leon Bailey because Aston Villa have really good fixtures, or move to Nkuku to get on the Chelsea ones. I guess you've got Morgan Gibbs-White, so after 3 games, once that Forest runs over, you can just make that switch as well.
Yeah, definitely.
So, someone's asked me, why have I got Wood instead of a Wonyi? Wood finished the season on fire and has been playing quite a bit, and probably is going to be the first choice striker.
Scored in pre-season.
Yep. Scored 2, I think, now as well in pre-season. So.
Oh, really? Wowza.
He's looking a bit good. And on Fantasy Football Hub's predicted points algorithm, he is the 3rd highest scoring forward over the opening 5 game weeks.
Wow.
So.
Was he in the? What's your? You did your draft simulator. What did yours score?
We'll come on to that, mate. We'll come on to that.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, you're too much teasing.
I keep reading the synopsis on Wikipedia.
Yeah, you've got
reading the plot.
You've got to go with the slow hand motion to start with. You can't just go straight into the gob. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sorry. I've fuck the foreplay.
Yeah, exactly. You can't slaver it up. We've got to tease these people. Got to keep them going. Is there anyone you think maybe I'm missing from this team?
Who did you say your front 3 were along with Wood?
Haaland and Isak.
No, probably not. Especially when you consider the long run of Haaland. I do get it. And I guess you can just take maybe Wood out for Watkins if you can afford a little bit of a twinge around at some point if need be.
Probably
or even Isak.
Yeah.
No, I think that makes sense. You've gone for Wood instead of Gibbs-White, so we've both got that double Forest.
Yeah, they've got really good fixtures and finished the season, statistically speaking, very well.
Yeah, and I think it was between Wood and Gibbs-White really that most of the goals were scored.
Yeah.
Created by him and scored by the big man.
Scored by the big man himself. He was a bit of a monster, wasn't he?
He was. That being said, I think Hudson-Odoi is a good honourable mention. Yeah. I think Elanga's been a little bit wasteful whenever I've seen him. He's been a menace, but I think Hudson-Odoi's definitely got that quality about him in front of goal. And he also scored in that. They played Millwall the other day.
Yeah.
Him and Wood scored, I saw. So yeah, he's definitely someone to consider. I don't know. I've got Ealing Jr., who we've already mentioned, and I've got Milenkovic or whatever his name is. There's 2 players that haven't played a competitive game for their club, and there is that doubt in the back of my mind as to, especially with Milenkovic, they've got so many centre halves. They play 3 at the back, granted, but they've got so many defenders. I am wary over him starting the first game, and whether it'll be like Dragusin for Spurs, a big money move, and doesn't actually start off straight away.
Yeah, that is always my advice for people: is never go with your initial draft for players that just move to clubs, because
unless they've done like a prem to prem, then I can kind of understand that.
I think if it's a prem to prem, or if they're like they're guaranteed to, like, they're playing every single minute in pre-season. You know what I mean?
Well, like if you say, like if Tony goes to Spurs or Smith Rowe goes to Fulham, I would probably keep them in because of the fact that they are proven in the league.
Yeah. I get that. But yeah,
and they're going because they are needed, and the teams know they will perform. So
yeah. Exactly. I mean, otherwise they've got Big Willie of Fulham. A lot of Willie mentions in this stream, isn't there?
Yeah. Well, you're one Willie away from DPing in your side.
Before we answer some of your guys' questions, we are going to take a look at, of course, the AI rating of both of these sides. This is, of course, done by Fantasy Football Hub. If you want to go and do this for your own team, there is a link in the description. Go and check it out. They're also currently offering a 7-day free trial to test out all the products, all the good stuff that they're doing over there as well. So go and check it out. You help support this channel as well by doing that. So plenty of good stuff. Let's start off with your team, Jake. It's given it an 89% AI rating. Are you happy with that?
That's definitely a good start, considering we've already identified a few places that we can improve. I think that's bang on. I think maybe the AI prediction might bring it back down if I do bank on one goalkeeper, which you've done. I think that will have an effect on it to set it per se, because they'll be like, well, this guy's not going to play full stop. Even though the logic is completely there and I get it. But then I will probably bring it straight back up again if I take out Ben White for Pen Porro, say, and take out someone, maybe Illing Jr. or someone that I can afford, maybe like Bruno for Foden. I think that will bring it up again.
Okay. Interestingly, it's got Neto as 0 across the board for predicted points.
Wow.
I think Travis actually finished the season, if memory serves me correctly.
Oh, well, I'll get on to that then.
Yeah, I'd also expect maybe Tony's minutes to potentially go up as well. Because obviously if he moves to Spurs, I'm imagining their opening fixtures are better than Brentford's opening ones.
Yeah. So how is that just rumour, or is a bid being made, or what?
No, it's pretty much a rumour that's kind of rumbling on at the moment. Apparently Brentford are lowering their asking price as well, with his contract expiring at the end of the season.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't bet on it.
Yeah, did we speak about Gakpo or not?
No.
I'm not a fan of Gakpo.
All right.
Outside.
All right, lad.
Outside of Salah.
Yeah.
I can't pin down who's going to be that front three.
I just think Dutch.
Well, I get that Dutch, but at the same time, you've got Jota, you've got Diaz, you've got Darwin, you've got Gakpo. Harvey Elliott could play up there in that front three as well, if he really wanted to.
I think Gakpo starts the season. I'm quite confident on that.
Okay.
He had such a good Euros as well that I feel like it would be a bit harsh if he wasn't started. But then again, though, when you think about last season, he never started, did he? Diaz played come rain or shine.
Yeah. And then you could also argue that Diaz, got to the final of the Copa America.
Yeah, I'm not even 100% convinced though that he actually will stay.
But then you've got Darwin, who had a really, really good Copa America as well, fighting with fans.
Yeah, there is that.
I just think
he missed when he threw the chair though.
Yeah. I just think if you're paying a premium, that's 7.5, I'd want someone that would be starting a lot for me in that forward position.
What would you suggest?
Let's have a look. Let's have a look who we've got in that position. Obviously, we've got fan favourite Dominic Solanke, but the fixtures are a bit stinky. But he plays 90 minutes and's on penalties.
There is that. Mateta?
I don't think he's as good value this year.
How much?
He's at 7.5. He's the same price. Yeah. You've got Havertz at 8. I'm not a big fan of Havertz.
I'm not gonna spend more than I've got on Gakpo. I don't think, if I'm going to want to get Foden in. I think there are enough players up front this season where you don't need to waste that much money. And if I'm going to go to 8, why don't I just go to 15?
Well, exactly. But why? What about Chris Wood? Has he crossed your mind? Maybe.
It's just too much Forest, and I feel like I need to. The one thing I will maintain from last season is my faith in Morgan, because he really did pay dividends all throughout the season whenever I had him in. When I had him in, he was, I would say, every other game getting more than 4 points.
Yeah. Interestingly, though, someone just mentioned in the chat, Mateta's at the Olympics as well.
Oh, what's he doing? High jump.
He's doing the marathon running this year, so that's
Oh, he'll
unlocked
be
him for that one.
goosed, won't he?
But let me just sell you. Let me paint you a picture. Let me sell you an idea, okay, lad?
Mm.
You get Chris Wood in. You've got an extra 1.5 million. That could get you an Anthony Gordon for Gibbs White.
Mm. What's their start? Their start's quite tricky, though, isn't it?
It's a good opening 3.
Is it?
It's Southampton. I know that much.
Yeah.
Southampton at
I feel
home.
like it was grey after that. I think Spurs are in there.
But they beat. Have you forgotten how they perform against Spurs?
Yeah, they do. Yeah, that's true.
They absolutely dick Spurs every single time at St James's Park.
Is it at home as well? Yeah.
It's at home. So that's of the opening 5. They've got Southampton at home, Bournemouth away, Spurs at home. But again, it's that fixture where they always dick them.
And it's the Gordon home curse.
Exactly. Then they've got Wolves away, Fulham away, and then at that point you probably sell him before City.
Ooh, all right.
I'm just
right.
throwing ideas.
No, Tom. I think I'd rather take out someone else in midfield. I'll make the funds up elsewhere.
Yeah.
But I think Gibbs White has to stay. I think he's the one place where my heart has to lay.
Okay.
I think he's been really good for me. But anywhere else, I think I'd take Salah up before Gibbs White. No, very bad.
He is a good player, though. I really, really do rate Morgan Gibbs White.
But yeah. But then again, Smith, like I say, Smith Rowe's still up in the air. I literally heard one of our mates say that he might be going to Fulham, and I've just run with it.
Yeah, exactly. Let's move on to my team then. 94% AI rated for my one. It's actually come down 1%. When I filmed the video originally, it was at 95, so some cheeky bugger has obviously knocked it down somewhere.
Who's stinking it up on the predicted points?
Munoz, actually, but I think he's
wow.
I think he's going to do really well. I was a big fan of him towards the back end of last season.
How's Harry Winks?
2.3, 2.2, 2.3.
Well, it's more than Neto.
Well, yeah. Interestingly, lad, Chris Wood has more across the opening 3 than Gibbs White. Just gonna.
Well, yeah, because he finishes the chances Gibbs White makes.
Fair, valid.
But who's on the penalties?
It is rumoured to be Gibbs White, but maybe Chrissy has a go.
Nah, Chris can fuck off. He couldn't even score from an open goal against Spurs. He scores headers, but whenever he's got the chance to just tap it in, he'll batter it against the post.
Yeah, he will. Right, let's answer some of your guys' questions. Let me have a look what we've had. Surely a 6 million defender makes more sense instead of a Forest attacker, even if it's more boring. What do you think about that one? So obviously there's Gavardio, there is Trippier, there is Robertson, all coming in at that 6, and obviously Saliba and Gabriel. Would you prefer one of them, or a Chris Wood, or a Gibbs White?
Why is that even a debate? Why can't you have them both?
Well, you can. He's obviously looking at both our teams and seeing we've got both Forest attackers in there. And for me, I've only got one kind of premium-ish defender, if you like.
Right, okay.
So he's saying to me, why have I got Wood? Why don't I knock him down and get a Robertson?
Because I think most of the time we're going to want to play 3 at the back if we can.
Yeah.
I think we're going to want to be attacking. We want to watch the football. We want to back the players that are going to do positive things. We're not going to want to watch games where we're hoping for clean sheets. Now, I get having premium defenders will get points over the course of the season. But I don't think you should be entirely negative and be having like players that are bound to get. If you have Saliba, Gabriel, Ake, Guardiola, and I don't know, someone else, you're playing 5 at the back. You might get points every other week or whatever because of the double clean sheets and all that. But I think you will miss out overall with the attacking returns because I think it is the next step up. Mind you, like it is a big step up, but it is the next step up to a similar point you make about the goalkeepers. They're kind of, you're not going to get a defender getting more than 6 points every week, whereas attackers on form can get that. They only need to get an assist and they're laughing. I think there's definitely a shout for fullbacks, players that are likely to get attacking returns. But even then, I feel like you've got Gvardiol, you've got Trent. You've probably got to argue a case for Ben White, but then that's a lot of money, like we've clarified. So then maybe a Ped Porro, but then I think Trent and Ped Porro in themselves, even though I've got Trent, they're most likely to concede anyway, because I feel like it's really only Arsenal and City, and then you'd argue a case for the likes of Everton maybe, and maybe even Palace, but then all of a sudden that's going against this guy's comment of going for those elite defenders, because arguably an elite player, you've got to raise the question for Branthwaite, for Gahey, and if you've got a Palace defender like Munoz, like you've said, or whatever his name is, I feel like it's a little bit subjective, to be honest, because I feel like you might want to go for an elite player, but I think you're wasting your time a little bit if you're going for players just based on their clean sheets solely. That's why I've gone for an Arsenal defender initially, who's also likely to pop up with a few attacking returns. But I've, as you've been able to tell, been quite easily talked out of it because I don't want to waste all of my funds in defence.
I think realistically, the max amount of premium defenders I would have is 2. Because realistically, what you're probably going to do there is, like you said, you're going to probably play a back 3 most of the season. Because clean sheets last year were few and far between for most teams, realistically. A lot of goals, a lot more time the ball was in play as well with the changes that the Premier League brought in. And I think if I was you, I'd just have mainly basically playing like a, Trent, Gvardiol, a 4.5 on the bench. Those 2 rotate extremely well, and a 4 million. I think that sets you up perfectly well, because then what you can do is just rotate those 2 premiums around with other ones that have really, really decent fixtures throughout the year.
Yeah, agreed. And once again, you're going for Gvardiol and Trent, who you're kind of banking on them to get an attacking return, because most of the time, even City get into that line, they comfortably beat teams that still manage to concede more often than you'd expect. So yeah, I completely agree with that. I think you want to focus really your finances on the attacking side of things. You're going to have players like Chris Wood, like Gibbs White. A football game, quite frankly, is a game of opportunities and chances that are created. You're not going to be passing the ball around the back, so it is going to be the defenders under threat more than the attackers. It's the attackers' job to put the chances away, granted, but they're going to get those opportunities, no doubt.
Yeah.
Whereas it's unlikely you're going to have a defender every week that's going to have nothing to worry about. So I feel like you're playing with fire if you're going to go for 3 or 4 elite defenders and hope that you get clean sheets that push you through.
Yeah, agreed. Next question. What midfield duo do you prefer? Odegaard and Bruno Fernandes plus Gordon, or Palmer plus Semenyo?
The first one.
Yeah, the first one looks pretty stacked, to be honest. I'd probably go with the first one as well. Let me find any else ones. People are suggesting maybe Palace are going to struggle. A lot of pressure on Eze. I get that, but they brought in a guy from Frankfurt who the manager worked with previously and put in some very
is that Kamada, or is it
yeah, he put in some really, really good numbers out in Bundesliga, so maybe if it can transfer over.
Yeah, no, he sounds like a decent player, to be honest.
Yeah. Troy here has said, how do you feel about swapping Gvardiol out to a Konza or Burn and upgrading Wood to Solanke?
No, I don't like it.
No, probably
I think,
not.
like we've clarified, Forest have much better opening games.
Yeah.
And I think Gvardiol is one of those elite defenders who is actually someone that you'd back to get quite a few attacking returns. Because City are going to score plenty of goals, no doubt.
Yeah.
And he popped up quite a lot. And towards the end of the season, he was scoring quite a few.
Yeah.
He nearly got a hat-trick, didn't he?
He did. He was pretty fearful, to be honest, towards the back end of the season if you didn't have him. Would you recommend Bernardo Silva? No.
No, probably not.
No. We'll do. There's a stream tomorrow night for the draft, so we'll obviously go through those in there. So keep your eyes peeled for that one. Obviously, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell, so you will be notified when I do go
Do you
live.
know what the first one is?
Which one?
FPL draft. Do you know what the first challenge is?
Yeah, they've changed the rules around for that as well. Have you seen that?
No. I mean, you can always tell us, or you can tease us, and we'll tune in tomorrow.
No, that's for a different one. The stream tomorrow is rating people's drafts, not
Right,
not the draft game itself. But yeah, there's you pick a team of 5 now.
Oh.
And the challenges are like it's not even like a team of 5 where like it's like 1 defender, 2 midfielders, and a striker. When it says like, oh, it's all out attack week, you have 1 goalkeeper and 4 strikers.
Oh, sick. Oh, actually, I quite like that.
Or like the week where it's like defenders get extra points or whatever. Your team is again 1 goalkeeper, 4 defenders. So you're trying to pick the best players from that one.
Yeah, no, I like that. It makes it easier as well, doesn't it? So people don't get too hung up on the fact that it's a bit of a time hassle.
Exactly. I think they've added loads of other stuff as well, but you can create leagues and stuff like that. So we'll get one set up.
Yeah, sounds good.
Someone's asked about Saka and why he's not seeing him in a lot of people's drafts. I mean, I can answer that one for you, to be honest, mate. The fixtures, they're a little bit hit and miss for Arsenal over the opening couple, I can't lie. And I think with that in mind, with his new kind of premium price tag, a lot of people are going to be looking at it and thinking, like, with that price tag, I think you have to be captaining to get the worth out of him, if you like. Like, the reason a lot of people have Salah is because over the opening couple game weeks, if you're not going with Haaland, very easy captain. Some good home fixtures in there, newly promoted sides. So it makes the 12.5 million worth it. Whereas Saka, if you're looking at the Arsenal fixtures, you're probably going, well, maybe Wolves on the opening day, but I could get Salah against Ipswich, so which one would I prefer there? And then after that, Villa in match day 2, no. Brighton at home in match day 3, maybe. But again, it's not like a guaranteed one, that one. Then it's Tottenham in 4, City in 5. It's just not a good set of opening fixtures for Arsenal, especially when you're paying 10.5 million. That's why a lot of people are just not going for Saka at the start. He will be an option when the fixtures are good, but for now, no. Simple as.
That actually does kind of put my mind at ease about having no Arsenal defender if I take White out, because like we've said, we don't want to be wasting money on defenders, and also those fixtures do get quite tough quite quickly.
They do, but Jake, I might be able to sway you with some data in a bit, but
all right.
We'll come on to that. We'll rapid fire through these ones. Tony or Havertz?
Tony.
I think if Tony moves, he's probably the better pick.
I think he's the better pick even if he doesn't move.
Ooh. Best 4.5 million goalkeeper?
Go on, you're going to have to do
that. I'd probably say Flecken or Verbergen are probably going to be your picks. Or if we find out guaranteed who's going to be the Palace goalkeeper, and maybe get both of those if you want to go down that route.
Yeah, because I was thinking that if you're going to bank on one keeper, you might as well have the same team.
That's what I've done.
Yeah.
Two Brentford goalkeepers. They're always going to play, so we're fine. Minter, is that? I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Minta.
Is that Minter?
Yeah.
It's Minter.
At Brighton, at 5.5 million, scored in his first game for the club in pre-season. What do you think about him?
I don't know enough about him, to be honest.
I mean, that's the first time I've ever seen him play. So, yeah, again, probably one of those where it's worth having the 5.5 million spot open, but from the start, maybe a wait and see on that one.
Yeah. I don't think he's much. There's not much to pick between him and Illing Jr. though, so I can't really judge him for having him if he brings him in, because I don't think there's much defence on my decision either.
Okay. Okay. Right, we'll answer some more questions at the end of the stream, but I am concerned that we've been chatting for quite a while and we've still got quite a bit to get through. So let's get through that. Next up, we're going to take a look at clean sheet data. This is provided by 11ify. Go and check them out on Twitter. Some amazing stuff. This is projected clean sheets over the opening 6 match days. I only said 5. The opening 6 match days. As you can see, Arsenal at the top. So maybe that Ben White move, you're getting him back in because they're projected to get the most clean sheets over that period.
Then that's including Spurs and City, yeah.
Yeah. But obviously they've got Wolves, Brighton and Leicester within the opening 6 fixtures.
Yeah, well, I can't see them keeping 3 straight clean sheets.
Oh, not 3. No. The projected is 2.48 for clean sheets.
So they just really think no one else is going to get any.
Well, they predict City as 2.25, then Liverpool with 2.01.
Well, that's a lie.
And then Everton with 1.575 in 4th, Villa in 5th, Palace in 6th, Brighton in 7th, Fulham in 8th, and Forest in 9th. So they're the top 10. Is there any kind of defenders you've seen there or teams kind of data-wise that you think maybe I should be potentially taking a look at?
Well, Arsenal, of course, is always going to be one you have to consider. But, I mean, I don't really like having a centre-half in, to be honest. And like you say, the alternative for them might is a Saliba or someone who, yeah, fine, they might have the most chance of keeping clean sheets, and they may well do, but I prefer to have a fullback. So I think that's why I'm quite keen on City. So with Guardiola, I quite like Trent because, of course, he's not going to be defending at all. So he'll be too busy attacking. And so if the defence happens, it's just an added bonus for his score. And then Everton, I feel like the obvious one's Branthwaite. But once again, it's a centre-half who I am quite keen to ignore. The only thing I would say for Everton's sake, though, is that they are quite dangerous from set pieces. So maybe that's something just to keep an eye on. But I don't really fancy like a Mikalenko or anyone. So I think I'm just going to leave that one for the time being. I really don't know how Everton's season is going to go. I think I said on a previous stream that I think they could go down. And I'm still not convinced by them. That being said, I still think they could keep clean sheets. Because we've clarified with Sean Dyche at the wheel, they will be solid at the back. But I think sometimes you can be as solid as you like at the back, but if you're a bit weak up top and a bit toothless and aren't scoring enough, then it doesn't really mean jack shit.
True. Some teams down the bottom to point out: Manchester United in 15th.
Wow.
Obviously, I imagine that's probably playing off last season's really, really poor data for Manchester United and kind of taking it into this season as well.
Well, they've just signed the Maldini regen, so watch this space.
I mean, yeah, that's an interesting one. I've seen quite a lot of people have Martinez in the team because he's coming at 4.5 million. Onana as well, quite a popular pick.
If you're going to be lucky though, if Martinez does anything but keep clean sheets, that's the thing.
I mean, for 4.5 million, that's all you really want, though, isn't it?
I guess. Yeah, maybe he's one of those you just chuck on the bench.
Like he will just be rotating around with the other 4.5s. That's all the realistic.
How much is that? How much do you know if that Euro's been?
He's 4.5 as well.
Because he's quite tall.
He is.
That's the only thing to say for him. Maybe he's got a bit of an aerial threat for set pieces if you wanted to have him on the bench rotating.
Yeah, I just think I would keep away from United at the start of the season, defensively. Like if they very easily could be shit like they were last year.
Yeah, no, agreed.
So worth keeping away. Interestingly, some teams down the bottom that are not fancied at all. Wolves, they've got one of the hardest fixture runs to start the season. Ipswich in 19th. Obviously, I told you that they're probably going to concede a lot of goals.
Not 20th though, so Leif Davis has some hope.
Yeah, and then some other teams: West Ham, Leicester, Southampton down the bottom.
Oh yeah, as if Ipswich have Liverpool then City to start the season.
No, baptism of fire to the Premier League, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
4 points guaranteed.
Yeah.
There.
Win against Arnie Slot.
win against Arnie Slot, the B-Tech Ten Hag.
Hank Schrader himself.
Yeah. And then a big clean sheet against City, 0-0.
Yeah, exactly. Cool. Right, let's move on to the final thing, and then we'll answer everybody's questions. This is predicted points, again coming from Fantasy Football Hub. This is over the opening 5 game weeks. If you want to go and check this out for yourself, link in the description. Leading the way is Mohamed Salah with 37.6 predicted points over the opening 5 game weeks. Then it's Erling Haaland in a very close second with 36.8. Then there is a massive drop-off of around 3 points to De Bruyne. And then again, another drop-off to Foden and Son on the same point. So they're the opening 5.
No Palmer.
No Palmer. Palmer, interestingly, is 9th, I think, looking at that. 1, 2,
Wow.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, 9th. It's quite tight. It is very tight. There's only, I think, 7 points between him and Mohamed Salah, predicted points.
I actually don't agree with those stats. I think, I'm going to say it now, it'd be nice if we could put a plug on this and just like come back to it in 6 game weeks time.
Yeah.
But I'm going to say that in 6 game weeks time, when we're preparing for our match day 7, Palmer will be on more points than De Bruyne.
Wow. Okay. It's a big claim. Obviously Palmer, penalty taker. He was brilliant, wasn't he?
Well, he's the talisman at Chelsea, whereas De Bruyne gets rotated sometimes.
He does, but I looked at De Bruyne's data from last season. It's actually really good.
So was Palmer's. But in 18 games, he got 14 attacking returns. Who, De Bruyne?
De Bruyne, yeah.
What did Palmer do? Something similar?
Probably. But again, it's like, we're writing KDB off, but...
I'm not right. No. I am not writing him off. I'm just saying that the game time really will have an effect, and also the fact that there are so many quality players in that City team, and everyone will look for Haaland, and Haaland is on the penalties, so it does kind of give Cole Palmer that slight advantage to get more points. It's not me hoping for anything, to be honest. I just feel like Palmer has that advantage.
Okay. Some other interesting standout names on this list. Eze above Palmer in 8th. What do you think about that one?
That is interesting. I don't agree with that either.
Oh, he's shooting down the algorithm here. He's had enough of it.
Yeah, I think De Bruyne will do better than Eze.
Yeah.
But
well,
who's so who is it? So it goes Salah,
Haaland, De Bruyne, Foden, Son. That's your top 5.
Son's a tricky one, but I guess like they have got a good start. I agree with Salah and Haaland. I think Haaland would be top if it wasn't for the fact that Salah gets an extra point for every goal. I think Foden will be 3rd personally, and then I think that of course like it's never going to be how it's predicted, is it? There will be someone rogue in there, and I say rogue. There'll be like a Watkins, a Tony, a Brennan Johnson, just someone that like isn't in that top 10 that will break into the top 10 by that game week 7, you'd imagine.
Yeah. Obviously, this can only predict so far, but it's football. Absolutely anything could happen.
No, but the structure of it, the spine of it is pretty accurate, I'd say. Yeah. I just think whoever wrote it absolutely adores De Bruyne and hates Cole Palmer.
Well, I think it's probably what's playing factor into that is the Ipswich at home game.
Yeah, but I don't think Chelsea have the worst start.
They don't. I just think that Ipswich at home game, they'll be looking at that and going...
Yeah, but he'll get subbed off after 60 minutes. He'll get a goal and assist. And I feel like that Ipswich at home game, he needs to be getting more than 2 attacking returns for him to be like, wow, that was good. If he gets a goal and assist or 2 goals, hey, don't get me wrong, that's really going to put Palmer with a lot to catch up on. But I don't think it's that big a deal because I feel like he would be someone that would get taken off after the hour if they're 3-0 up. Okay.
I agree with that. But obviously we'll come back to this in match day 6, see who scored more points.
We should remember this. I feel like that's... Do you agree or disagree?
Hey, lad, I reckon what we might do is Jake versus the algorithm. See if he can get it right.
All right, Sam. Well, this can be our first one of the season.
Yeah, yeah. Jake versus the algorithm. I'm liking
Palmer
it.
to outscore De Bruyne in the first 6 games.
Okay, all right. Right, let's take a look at some other interesting names on this list. Andy Robertson is above Trent Alexander-Arnold. What do you think about that one?
All right, I don't really understand that one, because Trent is playing higher up, full stop, and they're both, which in turn means they're both susceptible to conceding. Yeah, I'm not too sure about that. I don't. I mean, who knows how this season's going to start? You are right. Like going back to the Gakpo comments and stuff. Who knows what's going to happen? If you go back to Klopp last season, like even when Robertson was fully fit, he was still bringing Gomez on sometimes or playing him a few games. So that's in the back of my mind. But of course, Arnie Slot's got a completely different mindset. I'm sure, like he's got his style. Um, so I think we've just got to wait and see on that one. I'm not confident enough to put all my eggs in one basket. I just think Trent is an easier pick on the face of it. I feel like Robertson hasn't quite. I don't know. I just feel like Robertson. The system doesn't quite suit him for attacking returns anymore because he's needed defensively a little bit more.
Okay, okay. Interestingly, Robertson did put up very similar data to Trent last season. Both played fairly similar amount of minutes as well.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, and like as we clarified in the Euros, Trent is not a midfielder. He's not a proven midfielder either. He was definitely a bit of a ghost in midfield. He creates he creates brilliant chances. He creates a good number of them, but he is a missing man when we're defending. It doesn't feel like we control that midfield, but especially when he doesn't. He likes to play that killer ball, doesn't he? So a lot of the time when he has the ball in that place, he's either giving it away or creating an opportunity. And so yeah, he's still getting used to a completely new role for himself, where where hopefully Slot can utilize his quality with his creation because he clearly has that quality about him.
Yeah.
But it's just being able to cover his arse if we don't have the ball, and also cover his arse defensively and have enough players in midfield to not have to rely on him as a midfielder because at the end of the day, that's not what he is.
No, no.
Whereas Robertson, he's just been very consistent. But I do feel like last season it felt like he went a little bit quieter purely because he was forced to defend a little bit more, whereas we had Canate going on the right-hand side a little bit to cover.
Okay. Next two players I want to talk about, and then we'll answer people's questions and wrap up here for today. Like I said, there will be another stream tomorrow where we'll be going through people's drafts. So if you obviously want to come along to that one.
Drafts?
Yeah, I couldn't get my words out. If you want to get to people's drafts, yeah, I'm trying to think what I need to say here. Subscribe. There you go. Done. Bosh.
Sold?
Yeah,
you've sold that to me.
That's it. Everyone's just clicking that button already. It's getting spammed. Chris Wood, obviously on this list as well. I said he was third for predicted points. And Brennan Johnson as well, making his way onto the list down near the bottom. What do you think about those two players?
Yeah, I think he could have a very consistent season and go under the radar, Johnson. I mean, I'm sure people that actually study this, like yourself, people that do this for a living, where like they do make streams and are FPL accredited, they will notice that Brennan Johnson is one of those differentials that's worth considering. Whereas people that will just play the game for the big players, for the names, play it to try and be different, they might just miss out on that Brennan Johnson, like I would have. It was only because I did that Tenable, like I said, that I realised how many assists he got last season. So he's definitely one to keep an eye of. And I mean, you've gone straight in for the jugular and thrown him in your team, and I really don't blame you for it.
Yeah. Is he a player maybe you're thinking about, or are you thinking about a bit of Wood?
No, I think there's too many players for me to consider ahead of him. I think, in my opinion, Foden and Gordon are ahead of him in the pecking order.
Okay.
So yeah, I think I would quite like to get Foden, and I think that's my main goal for midfield.
What about a bit of Wood?
Lad, you need to stop this Wood agenda. I love a bit of Wood. You've got Willie, you've got Wood. That's brilliant. And then I've got the guy to link it all up together for you.
I reckon you'll end up with a bit of Wood in your team.
Maybe I will. But
yeah.
At the end of the day, I've got to stick with my man.
Okay. All right. Okay.
And I'm not going triple Forest. I think that's a little bit. Not saying it's a bad decision for the first few games, but I don't want to be stuck with Forest players having to take them out after a few games.
Well, this is something we haven't really spoke about. Is obviously the rule changes to FPL this season, and now you get to roll to 5 transfers.
What does that mean?
So, like, before you got to 2, and then it'd burn one, wouldn't it?
Oh, you get to 5.
Get to 5 now.
Wow.
So
Wow,
I
so
think
you've really got to set up for those first 3 games, don't you?
Well, this is the thing, right? You could theoretically go very heavy on short, kind of 3 to 4 fixture runs, bank the transfers throughout all of those, then completely wipe all your Forest assets because you've got free transfers.
Oh yeah, that's good. That's good. Well, that's something to talk about next time, I think, because I need some thinking time on that because I didn't realise that.
Yeah, there's also a new chip coming as well, but that's coming in January.
What's that?
We don't know. No one knows. It's just coming out in January. I don't even think they know.
What would you have?
There's a good one in EFL Fantasy where basically you don't have a captain. The captain just falls on the player that gets the highest score that week.
Okay, I like that. I do like that.
Because imagine if you had that in a double game week. I know, yeah. And like the double game week towards the back end of last season was when Mateta got like 51 points.
Oh, jeez, yeah.
You know what I mean? So you imagine like you just playing with that. You played that.
You do that, yeah. You 100% would do that over a triple captain. Wouldn't you just back yourself then?
Yeah, yeah. I think that'd be a really tasty one.
Yeah, agreed.
Cool. Let's answer some of your guys' questions. Then we will finish up. Like I said, I will be live tomorrow. Robertson or Saliba? Which one would you go for?
Saliba.
Ooh, I'm gonna go with Robertson. Different, bit of conflict.
Yeah, fair enough.
What other questions we got? Martinelli or Trossard? Probably
Trossard.
Yeah, Trossard. I think Martinelli kind of fell out of favour, didn't he, last season? If you could afford Raya, would you go for him? Obviously coming in at 5.5 this year.
No, because I feel like I could have. Well, the thing is, everyone can afford him at this moment in time, because you've got unlimited transfers. So I feel like you just have to go for him if you back him and want to waste maybe £1 mil to £1.5 million. I kind of agree with you, Tom. I feel like now that you've said it, I think just sticking to one club, having the main keeper in the reserve, I really don't think you need to waste your time banking on the high spends in keepers.
No. I think I looked at it last season. I think it was the top 6 games, Raya picked up 31 points. Now, he did average more points per 90 than both Pickford and Flecken and Verbergen, but it was only like they were picking up like 3.3 and he picked up like 4.1.
Yeah, and meanwhile, you've got a 1.5 mil that's cost you.
Yeah.
That could be better spent on an outfield player that would do better than that.
Exactly. So for me, it's just not worth it in the slightest. Yes, they'll have a good season. Yes, he'll probably, be up there for Golden Glove again. But if you look at his saves per 90, it's less than 1.
Yeah.
Pickford's and Flecken's is 3 per 90. So again, you're already gaining an extra point over them. And it is just finding that right goalkeeper and just sticking with them for the season. Like a lot of people switched off Pickford last year at the start, and then he became the highest scoring goalkeeper. Just keep faith. And I guarantee there'll be all the goalkeepers. There's not too much disparity between the points they score if they play every single minute.
Yeah, I agree. I completely agree with that. You've sold me on that as well.
Nice.
The only thing you haven't sold me on is a little bit of wood.
Oh, lad, I'll cram a bit of wood down your mouth. Don't worry about that one.
I think I'm more tempted in Willie than Wood, I'd say.
Yeah, I think Willie would be the sensible one, to be honest.
Yeah.
De Bruyne or Fernandes?
Probably go. What's the price difference?
1 mil difference. So De Bruyne at 9.5, Bruno at 8.
Yeah, you could go De Bruyne to start with, to be fair, because you've got the money then just to bring him out and save a little bit in the future, because you have got that Ipswich game. And I know I was arguing Cole Palmer's corner, but I'm not saying that he won't return in the Ipswich game at all. And you've got the Chelsea game. He does score in Chelsea games. He likes haunting his old side. And as we've already spoken about, it was 4-4 last time, so you'd imagine he'd get some kind of attacking return there. Meanwhile, like we've said, United's fixtures kind of stink.
Yeah, they do. They do.
They start off all right. Bruno scored against Fulham in the at Craven Cottage. I feel like they lost at home.
Yeesh. Wouldn't shock me. It is United.
Mm.
Final question for today's stream. Like I said, there will be another one tomorrow. Konza or Mikalenko?
I'm going to go Konza.
Yeah, I think I slightly prefer Konza over Mikalenko, to be honest.
Yeah.
Nice. That was a good stream. I enjoyed that one, mate.
It was. Well, we'll see how drastically my team's changed after this one. But yeah, no, that was good. Left me with some good food for thought. I like the fact that we've got that 5 banker that we can hold on for transfers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, I definitely think it's going to be an interesting thing across the course of the season. It means you can effectively do like mini wild cards.
You can, and also it'll actually help people that forget a week.
Exactly, because they'll come back and they'll go, bloody hell, I've got
4 free transfers.
Yeah, 4 or 5 free transfers. I think the thing they said as well is, obviously before when you played your free hit, it that was it. It didn't roll, did it? Now rolls.
So it's like a wild card.
No. So when you used to play your wild cards.
Oh, so you could have 4 free transfers and then go, fuck it, I'm just going to free hit this week, and you still have the 4 next week.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or the 5, so you'd have 5 next week.
Yeah, you'd have 5 the next week after. Yeah.
Wow.
It's good, isn't it? It's good.
Yeah.
It's good. Right, we're going to leave it there, guys. Like I said, there will be another stream tomorrow. Plenty more videos coming out over the weekend as well. And me and Jake will be doing more streams throughout the course of pre-season.
No doubt.
And throughout the season as well. So plenty of good stuff coming.
Yes.
Thank you very much for watching today, ladies and gentlemen. See you very soon.